เจริญพรทุกคน
Hello, everyone.
สิ่งที่พวกเราทำตอนนี้นะเหมือนที่
What
หลวง
you
พ่อ
guys
ท
are
ำ
doing
เมื่อก่อน
right now, it's similar to what I
40
used
ปี
to
ก่อ
do
น
in the past 40
ทุก
years
วัน
ago.
อาทิตย์หลวงพ่อก็จะไปฟังธรรม
Every Sunday, I would go listen to Dhamma.
แต่ละเดือนในกรุงเทพสมัยนั้น
Each
จะมี
month
ครู
in the
บาอาจารย์
past
มา
in
เทศน์
Bangkok,
มีทุก
there
อา
will
ทิตย์
be some masters to come in to
มี
Bangkok
ที่
to teach.
มูลนิธิพระอาจารย์มั่น
So there's like
ที่
a
ศาลารุ
foundation
ชิ
of
น
Ajahn Man,
วัดบรมนิวาส
Salarun
วัด
Chin,
น้อ
Wat
ย
Barom
วัด
Niwat,
น้อยอยู่
Wat
ใกล้
Noi. Wat Noi
ๆ ส
is
ถาบันเทคโน
quite
โลยีพระจอม
close
เกล้าพระนครวัดน้อย
near
จะมี
the
วัดเบญจ
a university
มีเยอะ
in
นะ
Bangkok, and there's like a Benjamabapit temple. There are many
เราก็เลือกเอา
places. So we chose.
เราอ
So
ยาก
I
ฟังครู
chose
บาอาจารย์องค์ไหนเราก็ไปฟัง
which master I wanted to listen to at that time. I would
ทุก
go
อาทิตย์
to
หลวงพ่อก็จะ
attend
ทำ
to
เหมือน
listen
ที่
to
พว
the
กเรา
sermon.
ทำตอนเนี้ย
So I would just do the same
แต่
thing as
ว่า
you guys
ตอน
do
นั้น
right
ทุกอา
now.
ทิตย์เลย
Every
เดือนหนึ่ง
Sunday,
จะไปฟัง
every
ครูบาอา
month,
จารย์ตาม
I
วัด
would go to listen
3
to these
ครั้ง
sermons about 3
อีกอาทิตย์
times.
หนึ่งจะขึ้นไปโคราช
Another week, I would
ไป
just go up to
ก
Korat
ราบหลวงพ่อพุธ
to
แต่ถ้ามีวัน
pay
หยุด
respect
ยาว
to
ๆก็จะ
Luang
ไป
Put.
หาครูบาอา
If
จารย์
there's
ที่อยู่
like a
ไกล
long holiday, I would go
ๆ หลวง
see
ปู่ดูล
other
หลวงปู่
masters
เท
at a
ศน์หลวงปู่
distance.
สิมอะไรพวกนี้
Luang
อยู่
Pu
ไกล
Dun, Luang Pu Tet, Luang Pu Sin.
ฉะ
These
นั้นใจ
masters live far
ใจหล
away.
วงพ่อนะก่อนมันวนเวียนอยู่กับพระ
So
ธรรมะนี่แหละ
my mind always
สมัยโน้น
thinking, surrounded with
ค
the
นเขา
thoughts
เห็น
about
เราเข้าวัดเขา
masters
ก็
and
ขำนะ
Buddha,
เขาขำ
about
ว่าทำ
Buddhism.
ไมหมกมุ่น
People who
อยู่
saw
กับ
me,
วัดอยู่
I
กับ
felt
พระ
they felt that I was obsessed with
มาถึงวันนี้มัน
Buddhism,
มีข้อ
with
พิสูจน์นะ
monks,
คน
with
ที่เขาอยู่
temples.
กับโลกอะ
Nowadays,
เขาไม่
there's a
เห็นมี
truth
อะไร
that people who live in the
ว่าง
worldly
เปล่า
sense, it's so
ในข
empty.
ณะที่เรา
There's
สน
nothing
ใจศึก
important
ษาปฏิบัติ
for us.
ชี
Who,
วิต
for
เรา
me,
ร่ม
who
เย็น
paid
เป็นสุข
attention to practice,
มัน
my
มีค
life
วามสงบมี
is
ความสุข
peaceful and calm and
เอา
happiness.
เงินซื้อไม่ได้สิ่งเหล่านี้
Money cannot buy these
ได้มา
things.
เพราะว่าลงทุนลงแรง
I achieved
ไปศึ
this
กษา
because
ฟัง
I
ค
put
รู
in
บา
an
อาจารย์
effort. I
ศึก
went
ษา
to
แล้วลงมือป
study,
ฏิบัติ
listen to the masters,
เราก็ได้รับ
and
ผล
practiced.
เป็นความสง
So
บสุข
I got the
มันร่ม
the
เย็นนะ
fruits of my
เป็นชีวิต
practice.
ที่ร่มเย็น
Life is
ในโล
peaceful
กมัน
and
เต็มด้วยความ
calm.
ร้อนนะ
The world
ร้อน
is
ด้วย
full
ไฟ
of
ของ
heat,
กิเลสราคะโทสะ
burn
โมหะ
with
เผาโลกอยู่
defilements
ตลอดเวลา
of greed, anger, delusions,
อย่าง
burning the world.
มหาอำนาจนะมี
Like those
อำนาจมาก มี
powerful
ทรั
countries,
พยากร
they are
ก็ยัง
so
ไม่พอ
have
วิ
so
ชา
much
ความโลภ
power. They have so many
นิสัย
resources.
โมหะ
It's
ห
the
ลง
greed, it's the
เข้าไป
delusion.
แย่งชิงคนอื่นเขาอะไร
And
นะ
they
คิดว่า
go
มี
in
แร
and
งมาก
fight
ก็
others
แย่ง
and
เขา
take
ได้
it from others. They thought that they
ไม่
had
มีควา
more
มผิด
power
เลย
and they would
ไม่
be
มีใคร
able to
ลงโท
take
ษได้
away from others. No
อัน
one
นี้มัน
could
ทำไป
punish
ด้วย
them.
รา
They
คะ
do
ด้วย
this
โมหะนะ
out of greed, out of
ถ้าเราสั
delusions.
งเกตเราดูถ้าเราดูข่าวเราเห็น
So
หน้า
you
มันจะ
look at
รู้เลย
the,
นะ
you listen to
ชี
the
วิตมัน
news,
ไม่
you
มี
look
ความ
at their
สุขอะ
faces.
นะ
They don't have any
คนมี
happiness
อำนา
or
จมากพอ
calm or
เวลา
peace in
ทำชั่ว
life.
ทีเนี่ยผลกระทบกว้าง
So when they have
อย่าง
more
คนทั่วไป
power,
นะไม่
they
มี
do
อะไร
they can do a lot more
โกรธ
damages
ขึ้น
to
มาก็ไปฉก
people.
คนนะทำ
So
ร้ายได้
for
ทีละคน
other people,
เมื่
you
อ
know,
คนมีอำนา
they
จ
just have one fist and can
มี
just
กำลัง
punch one
ก็ทำ
person
ร้ายค
and
น
can
ได้
just
ทั้ง
hurt
โลก
one
เลย
person
นะ
at a time. But
บาป
these
มันไม่
powerful
เหมือนกัน
people,
นะ
they can hurt
บาป
all the people in
ไม่
the
เป็น
world.
มิจฉาทิฏ
So
ฐิ
this is
นะ
similar. This is
ไม่
a
รู้ผิดชอบ
completely
ชั่ว
wrong
ดีไม่
view.
เชื่
They
อกรร
don't
มไม่เชื่อกฎ
understand.
ขอ
They
งกรร
don't
ม
believe in
ไม่เชื่อว่า
karma. They don't
โอป
believe
ปา
in
ติ
the
กะมีจริง
repercussions
ไม่
of
เชื่
their
อ
actions.
ว่าชา
They
ติหน้า
don't
มีอะไร
believe that next life
ไม่รู้จัก
exists.
พระ
It
ปัญ
will
ญา
come
ตรั
one
ส
day.
รู้
They
ของ
just
พระพุทธ
don't
เจ้า
know
เนี่ย
the
ลักษณะข
wisdom
อง
that had
มิจ
been
ฉาทิฏฐิ
enlightened
โด
by
ยต
the
รงเลย
Buddha. This is a
พระพุท
clear
ธเจ้าท่านบอกว่าไม่
illustration
มี
of
อะไร
the
นะนึกท่าน
misconception.
เห็นแล้วไม่มีอะไรอะ
The
มีโทษมาก
Buddha
เท่ากั
had
บมิจฉา
seen
ทิฏฐิ
this
เลย
and they felt
ยัง
that
ไม่
there
รู้
is
บาปบุญ
nothing
คุณโทษนะ
that
ไม่
is
รู้ดี
more
รู้ชั่ว
harmful to people
ยิ่ง
than
ถ้า
this
เป็นคนมีกำลังมาก
wrong
ก็จะ
view,
ทำความผิด
this
ได้มาก
ignorance.
นะ
So
นี่พวก
when
เรา
they
ไม่
have
ได้มี
more
กำลังข
power,
นาด
they
นั้น
can
แต่บาง
make
คนที่เขาเป็น
more
หัวหน้าเขา
severe mistakes.
เป็นผู้จัดการเป็น CEO อะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็มี
So
อำนาจใน
for
ขอบเขต
you,
ของเรานะ
when you are working
ก็ต้องระมัด
your
ระวังเหมือนกัน
when you are the
ว่า
CEO, you have
อย่า
the
ไป
power. You can start to
เบีย
affect
ดเบีย
more
น
people.
คนอื่นอย่าไป
That's
เบีย
like
ด
a
เบียน
little
ลูกน้
more
องนั่นแหละ
smaller scope.
อย่าไปเบียด
So
เบียนลูก
don't
ค้า
take
นะ
advantage of
ให้ระมัดระวัง
your customers, your
บาปกรรมมัน
employees.
มีจริงนะ
You have to
เรา
believe
ภาวนา
that
มี
karma
หูมีตา
exists.
อย่ารู้เลยสัตว์น
You
รกนี่
when
เย
you
อะแยะเลย
practice, when you have
เปรต
this
อสุรกาย
special
แทบจะเดินชนไหล่กัน
ability
นะ
to
เยอะแยะ
see
ไปหมดเลย
that
ตอน
in the
เป็น
next
ๆกันก็
life to
ยิ่งใหญ่
see
เหลือ
a
เกิน
lot of
สุ
ghosts.
ดท้าย
And these people used to be
หลี
so
ก
big
หลี
and
กกรรมไม่พ้น
powerful
นะ
in during their
นี่
human
ถ้าพวกเรา
lifetime.
สนใจศึกษาธรรมะ
So
นะเรา
when
ค่
you
อยๆ พั
study
ฒนา
Dhamma,
ใจของเรา
you practice, you
เรา
develop
ก็จะ
your
ห่างไก
mind,
ล
you
ค
will
วามชั่ว
be
ร้ายไป
distant
เรื่
from
อย
all this evil.
ๆ เป็นเส้นทางที่ไม่บรรจบกันนะ
It's a journey
พวก
that
ที่
will not
ชั่วร้ายนะ
meet
มันก็
of
ขนา
these
นกัน
two
กับโลก
parallel journeys,
มัน
two
พ้นโลก
parallel
ไปไม่ได้
paths.
ใน
Even
ขณะที่
though
พวกเราหัดภาวนานะ
when
เราตั้ง
you
ฉากกับโลกนะ
practice,
ว่า
you're
เดิน
gonna
หลุด
be
ออกไปจากโลก
perpendicular to these
เหนือโลก
journeys. You're just gonna leave
คำว่าเหนือ
these
โลก คำว่าพ้นโลก
worldly
ก็คือคำว่าโล
journeys
กุ
and
ตระ
paths. What does it mean by to
โล
be
กุตระธรรมมีจริง ๆ
transcending beyond this
มีจริ
worldly
ง
sense?
และ
This
ตราบใด
thing that is
ที่พวกเรายัง
transcended
ปฏิบัติ
beyond
ธรร
this
ม ยังเจ
worldly
ริญสติปัฏฐาน
existence
อยู่อะไร
is
เงี้ย
real. So practice your foundations of
การที่จะบรรลุ
mindfulness
ถึงโลกุตระธรรมนะ
in order to
ก็ยังมี
achieve
ความเป็น
this
ไปได้
beyond,
ขอเพียงอย่างเดียวว่า
beyond,
เรา
transcending
ทำให้ถูก
beyond.
เท่านั้นนะ นี่ถ้าเราต้องกา
So
ร
you have to do it right.
พ้นจากโลก โลกมี
So
แต่
when
ค
you
วาม
want
วุ่
to
น
go
วาย
beyond,
เบียดเบียนกัน
transcend
ตลอด
beyond
เว
this
ลากระทบ
world,
กระทั่ง
you
ต
need
ล
to
อดเวลา
practice.
มี
So
ค
when
วาม
there's
เสี่ย
so
ง
many
ตลอดเวลา
contacts in this world,
ถ้าเราอ่อน
there's
แอเราก็เสี่ยง
always
ที่จะ
risk
ถูกทำร้าย
because something comes to
เราแข็ง
contact.
แรงเราก็เสี่ยงที่จะไปทำร้ายคนอื่น
So when you are strong,
เนี่ย
you're
ถ้าเรา
powerful,
เห็นว่า
you
โลก
have
มัน
the
ไม่
risk
ดี
of hurting
นะ
others.
ไม่แน่นอน อันตราย
So
เรา
when you
ก็พยา
see
ยาม
that this
พ้นจาก
world
โลก
is
ให้
full
ได้
of dangers, you have to go
เมื่อ 40 ปีก่อน
transcend
นะ
beyond
มี
this
ครูบา
world.
อาจารย์ผู้หลักผู้ใหญ่เยอะ
Decades
ยุคนั้น
ago, many
เว
masters,
ลาเข้าไปเรียนกับท่าน
there were
ถ้าท่าน
many
เทศน์เฉ
masters
ยๆอย่างนี้ท่านก็เทศน์ธรรมดา
around. So when
แต่
you
ถ้าเรา
go and
เข้าไป
see
หา
them, when you
ใกล้ชิด
approach
หน่อยนะ
them
บางทีท่าน
and
ก็
you
เล่าอะไร
become
ให้
close
ฟัง
to
แป
them,
ลก
they may tell
ๆท่าน
us
ก็
a
เตือน
lot
นะ
of
ตั้งแต่ 40 ปีก่อนนะ
funny,
ท่านบอก
interesting
ว่า
stories. Since
ยุค
that
เนี้ย
4
สัตว์นร
decades
กมัน
ago,
ขึ้นมามากแล้ว
so there are many,
สัตว์นรกมัน
many
ขึ้นมา
creatures
แล้ว
that's
มันมี
reborn
กำลัง
from the world, come
คนที่ประ
to
พฤติป
come
ฏิบัติธรร
and
ม
get
เนี่ย
born
มัน
in
ล
the
ดลง
human
ลดลงนะ
realms.
ทำ
So
ไม
the
ลดลง
people
ก็เพ
who
ราะว่า
are
ส่วน
good,
ที่
there will
เขา
be
ประพฤติ
fewer
ดี
and
เขาก็หลุ
fewer
ดขึ้นไปแล้ว
people who
อย่าง
from
น้อย
the
ไป
good,
เป็นเทวดาไปเป็นพร
you
ห
know,
ม
the good
นะ
realms in the
ไอ้
past.
พวกที่เหลืออยู่
Most of
นะยั
them
งเป็
do
นพวก
good and
ที่
they will just
ร่อแร่
become divine
ยัง
beings.
เอา
So
ตั
these
วไม่
people
รอ
who
ดอะไร
remain
เงี้ย
in the
ท่านก็
world
เตือน
are the people who
ไม่
could
ต้องตั้ง
barely
ใจ
make
ภาว
it.
นานะอยู่กับเขา
So
ไม่ได้หรอก
make sure you
ต่อไปมัน
stay
จะ
and
เบีย
be
ดเบียนกัน
diligent in
เพ
your
ราะมันเป็น
practice.
มิจฉาทิฏ
And
ฐิ
in the
นะ
future,
จะ
because
เบียด
these
เบียนกันเราอยู่
people
กับเขาไม่ได้
have
ท่านบอกอย่างนี้
the wrong view, have the
ที่จริง
misconception,
ท่านเล่า
have
เยอะกว่า
these
นั้นนะแต่พู
ignorance.
ดไป
You
มันก็ไม่ดี
cannot do this. They
ที่
actually
ก็
said
เล่า
a
ให้
lot
ฟัง
more, but we cannot
รวมความ
say
ก็
this.
คือ
It's not good to
ยุค
say
เนี้ย
this.
มันเป็นยุค
So
ของคนบา
this
ปมัน
is
เยอะ
the world
นะ
that are full of
เราอย่า
sinners.
อยู่กับเขาเลย
So you
เรา
don't
ตั้
want
ง
to
ใจภาวนา
coexist with them. So make sure
ทำไงภาว
you
นา
keep at your
อันแรก
practice.
เลย
Be
ต้องรักษาศีล
diligent.
นะ
So
ต้องรัก
first,
ษาศีลอย่าง
hold
น้อ
your
ยศีล
5,
5 ต้องรัก
serve
ษา
your
ให้ได้
5 precepts,
ศีล
hold
5
your
รักษาไม่ได้
morality.
เนี่ยหายนะ
Unless you
เลย
could hold these 5
ชีวิตนะ
precepts, it's a
ไม่มี
disaster.
ดีหรอก
Life would not
นะ
be any
หา
good.
ความสุขหาความสงบ
You
ไม่
will
ได้
not
เลย
find
อ
peace
ย่าง
and
คน
happiness.
คิดทำ
So
ร้ายคนอื่น
people
เนี่ยจิตใจ
who
ไม่ส
likes
งบ
to
หรอก
hurt others,
คน
how could
มี
you
เม
have
ต
a
ตาไม่
peaceful
ทำร้ายใคร
mind?
นะจิต
So
ใจ
when
มี
you
ควา
have
มสุขอะ
compassion, you have
คน
loving
ที่จะข
kindness.
โมยของคนอื่นนะจิต
So
ใจ
you
ว้า
will
วุ่นต้อง
you
วาง
will
แผ
have
นต้องอะไรมากมาย
peaceful mind. Those
ค
who
น
want to
ไม่คิดจะ
steal,
เอาของ
they're
คน
full
อื่
of
น
plans,
และถ้าใจ
evil plans.
กว้างๆห
If
น่
you
อย
want to
นะ
take
ก็
things from
แจก
others,
ส่วนเกินนะให้คนอื่นได้
but on the
แบบ
other
ใจ
hand,
เรามีความสุข
if you
นะ
have the generosity, you
และ
want to
คน
give
ที่
extras
อยา
to
กได้ของคน
others,
อื่
you
นนะ
have the
ใจมันทุกข์
happiness. So people who are
คนที่
greedy,
รู้
wanting
แบ่ง
other
ปัน
people's
ใจมันมีความ
things,
สุข
they're full of
คนที่
sufferings. But those
ซื่อ
who
สั
want
ต
to
ย์กับ
give to
คู่ของ
others,
ตัวเอง
generosity, full of
ก็มีความส
generosity,
งบ
they're
สุข
full of
นะ
happiness,
คน
full
ที่
of
ไม่ซื่อสัตย์
calmness
กั
and
บคู่ของ
peace.
ตัวเอง
So people who are true and honest to their partner, to life partner, they will be happy. But those who dishonest to their life partners, they don't have happiness. They don't have true happiness in life. Life will not be good. Or those who are liars. So when you meet liars, morning, afternoon, they say different things all the time. They're not reliable. So they like to fool others. These people, their mind is just at the low level. They cannot develop. Or those who are addicted to drugs. You see them and you feel like if they want to get ordained, it just won't work. When they have substance abuse, the physical side of them are not ready to really fight with their defilements. So the chance for them to develop this is not there. So the mental cultivation is not a choice for them. So 5 precepts may make you look stupid, may make you feel like you're not, going to be able to be, as fast as others. But your mind inside, you don't take advantage of others, other lives. That's good. So that's the first lesson for all Buddhists that want to live in this world. If you want to go and transcend this world, you want to achieve this, you have to study Dhamma. And in order to study Dhamma, there are 3 lessons for any Buddhist to study. So it starts with the morality. You understand these precepts. And then the next step, you understand the mind. And the third step, it's about developing your wisdom. So for you, in order to have the morality, you have to understand and know how to observe these precepts. If you want to achieve and get the correct samadhi, and then there are lessons you need to learn, the correct lessons to get there. This is a major weakness. Most of you guys, a lot of Buddhists, they are good people and they're diligent in their practice, trying to do their practice, but they just don't make much progress. It's usually because they're stuck at having incorrect samadhi, because they thought it's all about achieving concentration and samadhi. First, one is about morality, to how to make it for getting the right morality. The second lesson is about understanding the mind. The lesson about the mind, the first thing you achieve is the calmness and happiness. And then the second thing you achieve from this mental study or lessons, you're going to get a stable observer as a consequence. If your mind is not staying with your body and mind, you will never get to the wisdom cultivation stage. So the wisdom cultivation is about understanding the truth about life. What is constituting your life? It is the mind and the body. So the wisdom, it's about understanding the nama and the rupa, which constitutes your life. So understand your own life, the body and mind of yourself. You can go and understand all these things outside, the mind and the body of the nama and rupa outside, but it's so hard. It's full of pitfalls. So come back to yourself, understanding your body and mind. So these are the 3 lessons for all Buddhists: the morality, the mental lessons to achieve the happiness, the calmness, and becoming a stable observer. In order to get to the third lesson, it's about the wisdom cultivation, it's the insight development. And these are the things. The vipassana practice, what does it mean? It's not about thinking about. It's not about thinking. Vipassana, it's about seeing it correctly. Vi is correctly, clearly, and Vipassana is seeing. So it's about seeing the truth about the body and mind truthfully. So when you could see this about the truth about yourself clearly, you will let go of these attachments of the body and mind. So whatever arises in the body, whatever arises in the mind, you will no longer have any sufferings. These are the 3 lessons that you need to study. So The rest are a lot of details I teach you. So when you hold the morality, you observe the morality, the precepts, you have the intention to this. The moment you wake up, you want to observe these 5 precepts. You need only 5 precepts for people who still live in this world. Don't go beyond this, otherwise it's a lot of pressure. So hold these 5 precepts dearly. Every morning when you wake up, have the intention to observe this. So the intention to observe this is the intention to abstain from any wrongdoing in these 5 dimensions. So it's the intention to abstain from any wrongdoing in these 5 dimensions. This is not vipassana. Vipassana is about observing this, but morality, you need the intention to abstain from these violations. Don't let the defilements overtake you. So even though the defilements tell you to steal, you have to be able to abstain from it, to suppress these desires. So initially, for morality lessons, you have the intention to abstain from these violations. So when you do it repeatedly, it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, you don't have to be too intentional. You will not have any desire. For those people who like to lie, initially you have the intention to stop doing that. Once you do this repeatedly, you will no longer want to. Or those who are addicted to any drugs or alcohol, initially you have to fight with these desires. After a while, the mind becomes used to not drinking, not taking drugs. So first have the intention. When you have the strong intention and do it repeatedly, it becomes a habit and it becomes easy. So there's still 5 of them. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 5 precepts. So then you can do this. Once you develop your mind to become at a higher level, so rather than having to have the intention to observe this, it's because the defilements has overtaken you. But when you have good mindfulness and becomes aware of your defilements, so when you see other people's wives and they're so beautiful and you feel that your wife is not beautiful and you want to go after someone else's wife, but if you don't have mindfulness, you cannot see the defilements inside your mind. And then you want to kill the husband and get their wives. In the past, that's what they do. You kill the husband in order to take their wife. So you have the aversion to kill, and you have the greed to get the wife. So these are the delusions overtaking you. You don't know right from wrong. So observe your mind when even though you start with the intention to observe this morality, but you observe the mind after a while, these defilements arise and you become aware. Any unwholesomeness arises, you become aware. It's not that hard. So when you drive, for example, it's not that difficult. When you drive, someone cuts in front of you, you have the anger. Most of the people would look at the car and observe the driver who cuts in front of you, someone who makes you angry. But if you actually come back to yourself, observe your mind, observe your feelings, and you will see that this anger arises in the mind, and it cannot, aversion will not be able to overtake you. You will not violate any precept. You will not just pretend just to hit that car and you violate the precept. So when you have the good mindfulness to become aware of whatever arises in your mind, you don't need to really observe the precepts anymore, because the mindfulness will become aware of these defilements, and then you have automatic precepts, morality, because the mindfulness will just protect your mind. Whatever arises in your mind, anger arises in your mind, you want to hurt someone, you become aware. The anger cannot overtake you. You will not hurt anybody. You will not go and hurt everyone. If you see the greed arises in your mind, you will not go steal, because this greed cannot overtake you. So if you have practiced enough, you become mindful of whatever of defilements that arise in your mind, you no longer need to observe the precepts because these mindfulness will protect the mind not to let any defilements overtake you. You will not be consumed by any defilements. So whatever the defilements, no matter how many precepts that are there, it will not be able to observe them because the mindfulness will automatically protect the mind not to let any defilements overtake you. So no defilements can control your actions or speech. So it's not about 5 precepts, 8 precepts, 227 precepts. It's about mindfulness protecting the mind. That's it. Just one precept. It's about the normal mind not being overtaken by any defilements, not to stray from being normal. So be mindful of all the defilements, and then the precepts will become easy. And there's no longer need for any intention to observe these moralities, because the mind cannot be overtaken by any defilements. So the precepts will not need to be observed. So the next thing when you do this, when you have mindfulness, become aware of your mind constantly, the first thing you achieve is the morality. And then the next step is samadhi. It's about the mind becoming a stable observer. So then there are 2 kinds of samadhi. One is the mind stay with one object constantly, and the mind gets peace and get their energy and becomes fresh. The other kind of samadhi is when the mind becomes stable observer and the mind becomes the knower. So there are 2 kinds. One is you get a calmness. The other kind is when the mind becomes a stable observer. When you know that the mind is scattered, the mind is busy, then you become aware of it. Then these scattered mind will just disappear. You just become aware. When you become aware of the desire to speak, when the desire to go and get on social media and make comments, once you become aware of this mind and have this desire, the mind will no longer be scattered. The mind will get the peace and calmness. So it's the happiness full inside yourself. The reason that you need to go outside and go get to different objects because the mind is hungry for happiness. It's just natural for people to be born and having the desire for happiness. You go and see the image, you go and listen to some sound, you go and smell something, you go and taste something because you want happiness. You want something that comes to contact your body, just something that would bring happiness. When you think about how to make yourself happy, so whatever you want, it's about wanting happiness. So when you're not becoming aware of these desires, of this greed, because you're searching for something, for some contacts, some objects that would make your mind happy, and you keep searching, you will never get happy. You listen to something for a while, and then you have your favorite song, you listen to it for a little while, you get bored. And after a few hundred times, you get tired of it. You don't like it anymore. In the past, these a lot of temples like to listen to these songs from Tibet, Tibetan songs. These songs from Tibet. The first time you listen to this, you feel nice. After a while, you get bored of it. The mind doesn't get full from listening. The first time you might feel happy, you hear it, but after a while, it's still the same song, but you no longer have happiness. After so many times, the mind doesn't get full from it. It starts searching for other kinds of happiness. It will just go search for other forms of happiness. So you go other kinds of objects that bring other happiness. It's always hungry for objects that bring happiness. So when you want the mind to rest, because the mind is so scattered, the mind is so busy, so you will just have to look for, if you know how to practice this, then you just, if the mind is so scattered, you have to do some samatha practice. find an object, the reason the mind is so scattered because it's searching for the objects that bring happiness. So try to take notice. Whatever that the mind gets happy, which object that the mind stay with and the mind gets happy, use that object. For since I was young, when I stay with my breathing, my mind gets happy. So when my mind is scattered, I come back to my breath, breathing input, breathing out toe, breathing input, breathing out toe, just a few rounds, and then my mind gets happy because the mind likes observing the breath. So you observe yourself, whatever you stay together with as an object, that's your meditation object because it gets happy. Because the mind gets happy as it stays with that object. It won't go anywhere else because otherwise the mind is hungry for the object that would bring you happiness. Just feed happiness to yourself by staying with the meditation object that makes you happy. It's just like a kid. You don't want the kids to go anywhere because you're afraid that the car will hit the child. Just bring something that the child likes. Just bring some candies that the kid likes. The kid will not go anywhere far. I will just come home. So when the kids like to play with the tablet, just give the tablet to the child. The child will not go anywhere. I'm not suggesting you do this. Actually, you should not give the tablet to the children because the mind is sent out the whole day. I'm just giving you an example that the mind is like a child. When you give an object that makes the mind happy, the child will not go anywhere. Just like the mind will not leave the house by staying with the meditation object. So any meditation object that bring happiness to your mind, use that as your meditation object. So happiness is approximate cause for peace, for samadhi. So that's the first kind of samadhi. There's another kind. It's not about calmness. It's not about happiness. It's about the mind becoming a stable observer. So the calmness kind, the mind stay with the object. So the mind stay with the object, staying as one. So, but the other kind of samadhi, there is an observer. There's an object. The mind is an observer. Just like when you stay by the street, you see the cars passing by. You don't follow the cars. The mind is a stable observer. That stable observer, when the mind becomes a stable observer, it withdraws itself from any phenomena that arise. Just become a knower, become an observer. The masters from the forest temple always say that when you have a mind that becomes a knower, usually the mind is a lost mind, becomes aware of the sound, the sight. So there are two kinds to get to the stable observer. First is to go through jhana absorption, because nowadays there are really few people who could do the true absorption state. Usually it's just a little bit here and there, but it's not true absorption. I look at them, it's just like they don't even have mindfulness. There's no way they can get the true absorption in jhana. It's about forgetting themselves. That's not a true absorption. So when the mind becomes collected and gets to an absorption, and the mind is still a stable observer, it doesn't think, have the calmness. So nowadays it's really rare that someone could get the jhana because it's about short attention span. So in order to get the stable observer, for people who have short attention, it requires mindfulness, the correct mindfulness. Become aware of the mind that is not stable observer. You cannot command it to become a stable observer because it's not under your control. It's not self. So as the mind moves to think, as the mind moves to see, the mind moves to listen, the mind moves to smell, the mind moves to feel the bodily touch, or the mind moves to think, just become aware. See the behavior of the mind. See the behavior that the mind is lost through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or the mind. Just you cannot become aware of these 6 sense doors. So just come back to something more simpler than that. It's too complicated, these 6 sense doors. So stay with meditation object, breathing input, breathing out toe, for example, for me. Become aware of your mind behavior. First, you get the morality, and then the second kind, you get the samadhi, that is a stable observer. So stay with your meditation object. The mind moves to think, you become aware. The mind moves to focus, over focus on the breath, becomes aware. A lot of you, when you do the sitting meditation, you start to over focus on the breath, on the abdomen. That's not good. The mind is sinking into the object. The mind cannot withdraw itself and become an independent observer. So rather than let the mind sink into the object, just become aware of the mind. So as the mind moves, think, become aware. The mind moves to over focus on the object, become aware. As the mind moves to think, you become aware. If the mind is sinking into the abdomen, the mind just go too far into your feet. If the mind is over focusing, become aware. Just become aware of the mind's movements. So once you become mindful of the mind's moves here and there, what you're gonna get is just you're gonna get the mind that stop moving without intention, without controlling. The mind become a stable observer on its own automatically. So become aware of the defilements that comes in and become aware. You get the morality when you become aware of the mind's movement, become mindful of the mind movements. It's not about observing the defilements anymore. When you become aware of this movements of the mind and you become aware of it repeatedly, and you don't need to be aware of it for through 6 sense doors. Just pick one, for example, during your formal practice. When you do your formal practice, there's only mind and body. As the mind moves from your body and mind, become aware. The mind is over focusing on the body and mind, you become aware. As you become better and skilled at it, when the mind moves to think to the eyes, to the nose, and then you become aware of it. You just become aware of it, become mindful of it automatically. So do your form of practice regularly. When you do your form of practice, when the mind is scattered, just bring the mind to stay with one object. It makes you happy, and the mind becomes happy and calm and quiet. And then after a while, you practice for the mind to become a stable observer by observing the mind that it's not stable observer. Different. First is about staying in one object until you get with calmness and peace. But the other one is becoming aware of the movements of the mind. If the mind moves somewhere else or the mind becomes sinking into the meditation object, you eventually, from starting from instantaneous mindfulness, but you do it repeatedly, frequently. You keep doing this until you become aware. So becomes aware of the mind is lost. So for example, Luangpu Tian, as you move your hands, as the mind moves to think, you become aware. The mind moves to the hand, you become aware. Luangpu Du said, you become aware of the mind. So many of these masters is teaching you to become aware that the mind is lost. It's not about controlling the mind, not to get lost. It's about becoming mindful of the mind being lost. So breathing in, breathing out, toe, and the mind is lost. Are you worried about the oil is getting so expensive? The gas is getting expensive. The inflation is coming. So you become aware that the mind is lost to think. Then that last mind has disappeared and the mind, the awake mind becomes there, is there. If you do it repeatedly, the more you see the mind getting lost every time it's lost and you become knowing, you know it, you just slowly the mind becomes aware. The upright and stable observer, it's about the mind is a stable observer. And the mind will stop being character that just showing. Sometimes it's just this character and that character, sad character, happy character, hungry, greedy character. So once you become a stable, your mind becomes a stable observer. Rather than a performer, it becomes an observer, observing the mind and the body doing its own thing. When the mind becomes a stable observer, you are ready for the insight development. So this wisdom development, cultivation, in order to do the wisdom cultivation, it's about learning the truth. It's about the insight development. It's about seeing correctly. So in order to do vipassana practice, the first is mindfulness. The second one is the stable observer. It's the correct kind of samadhi. Unless you have a stable observer, you cannot say that you have a vipassana practice. So a lot of times you say that it's like a vipassana retreat. It's about, actually mostly it's over focusing. Unless you have a stable observer, the mind is awake as an observer. It's no longer a performer. It's not practitioner. It's about being an observer. Observer that you are performing practitioner role. So then that's something you could see. So as the mind is lost and you become aware, you could do this repeatedly. The mind will become a stable observer. One phenomenon will arise. You would see the aggregates separate out. The aggregates will see, you see that the form is one thing, the feelings is another, the perception is another, the mental formation is another, the consciousness is another. You need to separate them. Once the mind becomes a stable observer, you see them separate out. If you have the mind, when you listen to me, the mind have some samadhi, could you feel that the body that is sitting listening to me, the body is not us, the body is being observed. Is the body telling you that that is us? No, it's not telling that it's non-self there. The body is moving. Can you tell that is it telling you that it's self? So it's not us. So when you have a stable observer, the aggregates rules, you see the aggregates separate out. The 5 aggregates are already separate. These are 5 parts. These are the 5 components. It's just the wrong view, it's the wrong perception that you understand these, the wrong seeing of you that these are combined and become us. But when you have a stable observer, you see these 5 aggregates separate out. You see the body observing. You observe the body with a stable observer. You see that this body that is moving is subject to the 3 characteristics. It's impermanent. It's subject to passion to change. It's under compulsion to change. And it's also non-self. When you're sitting here, the body is subject to some sort of which is being under compulsion to change. It's just being forced to change. Breathing in alone will bring sufferings. Breathing out alone will just bring sufferings. It's always under oppression to change. It's under compulsion to change. When you become aware of the body, you see that the body is impermanent. It's always changing. It's constantly changing. The body is always under compulsion, under oppression to change. You standing, you walking, you sitting, you lying down, it's always subject to some sort of compulsion to change. It's just simply some elements that belong to this world. It's just these objects that it's being borrowed from the world. And these are elements flowing in and the elements flowing in. If you keep getting the elements flowing in without flowing out, you just die. And once you die, everything just flows out. The water flows out, the air has stopped, the fire stopped. So no matter how much you love it, you like to hold on to it, you need to return all these elements to the world. So if you become aware, have a stable observer, You just see that the body is subject to these three characteristics of existence. If you see the aching inside your body, the mindfulness become aware of this aching. You see this pain, these aches are not part of the body. It's not, it's something that the mind becomes, that the mind just become aware of. Sometimes the ache is there, the happiness feelings in the body is there, the pleasant, unpleasant feelings are there. It comes and goes. The happiness and unhappiness in your mind, it's just some neutrality of the mind. It just, you see these changes in the mind, the same thing. Body, you understanding the truth about the mind is subject to these three characteristics. With the stable observer, you see that these feelings, happiness and happiness, or indifference, it's just something else. So, for example, you become aware of the perception, the memory. Sometimes you can remember, sometimes you cannot remember. It's not subject to your control. And eventually, when you have Alzheimer, for example, you forget everything, even your own child. So even your memory is no longer under your command. It's impermanent. So the mental formations is the same. So if you have a stable observer, you see the anger arises, the anger will just disappear right in front of you. When you have a stable observer, you become aware of the anger will just disappear. So these are not permanent. You see that the anger is impermanent. These, or when you have the intention not to get lost, you want to become aware. It's just in no time your mind gets lost. See, the mind being lost is also non-self. It's not us. It's not under control. The wholesome or unwholesome mind, these are all impermanent. Wholesomeness or unwholesome mind, these are not under your control. These are impermanent. These are all subject to the causes and effects. So even life, even your body life, it's subject to the causes, not subject to your command, not subject to what you desire it to be. You cannot say the body, you cannot tell the body not to love, not to age, not to die. No, you cannot tell the mind not to love someone, not to get angry at someone. You cannot stop it. If you keep studying all these five aggregates, the body, the feelings, the perception, and the mental formations are not under your control. So the last part, the consciousness, you see the mind becomes rises and falls away. Where does the mind arises and falls away? It's at six sense door. If the mind arises and falls away at the eyes, it's called the eye consciousness. If it arises and falls at your ears, it's called the ear consciousness. So the mind is the consciousness, but this consciousness is just come to get contact through the sense doors. If it's the mind consciousness, it's the same thing. The mind becomes conscious of whatever arises, these six sense doors. So as the mind becomes aware, this is the consciousness, one part of the mind. As you could see that the consciousness arises at these six sense doors. So this consciousness is also subject to the three characteristics. If you have a stable observer and you're not controlling the mind, if you're not trying to control the mind, let the mind behave on its own, and you see that the mind's having a stable observer, and then there's some stimulation at the eyes, and the mind, the consciousness arises at the eyes and become conscious of the image, and then the stable observer is lost to see the image just one moment, and then they become aware that the mind is lost, and there's another mind that arises, become aware. This stable observer becomes aware at this one moment. So there's another stimulus at your ear. The stable observer falls away, and then the mind, the consciousness arises at your ear. So when you are so skilled at this, you become aware at this, the mind becomes, the consciousness arises, these sense doors. As you see the mind arises and falls away, you have to have the mind becomes aware. So otherwise you're just forever lost if you don't have this stable observer. It's like a stray dog. You just keep getting lost forever. But if you have a stable, your mind can become a stable observer. The mind wanders out and comes home immediately, just that immediate moment. So then you could see that whatever the mind arises in your eyes, and you cannot stop it. When your eyes arises, you have there's some light and there's some image, and then your consciousness arises. Pay attention to it. There's a consciousness. There's some consciousness at your eyes or your ears or your nose or your tongue. You know, when you get some scent of it, you get some taste, or the mind consciousness arises as your thought. The mind arises to become aware of it. And if you go and focusing on your mind, over focus on your mind, you see that the minds move. So when you have a mind that's a stable observer, you see that the mind moves through these sense doors, and you become aware of it. And you finally understand eventually that all kinds of mind are subject to the three characteristics. These are all impermanent. Whatever that the consciousness become aware, become conscious at these sense door, then this mind is just arises and falls away. It's subject to the cause and effects of things. Some people thought they can control it. So I used to practice, and I used to stay in this emptiness, in this void, stay in it for like months, for about a year. The mind is full of happiness, calmness, and the void. But then one day I realized that Buddha said that the mind is impermanent. The mind is full of sufferings. The mind is why did I have only happiness? Why could I control it? There must be a mistake. I didn't think that the Buddha was saying it wrong. It must be my mistake. And I had a chance to meet Luangpu Mahabua. And then I'm not sure I said, I'm not sure that why this happened. When you say that you're observing the mind, you cannot see the mind anymore. So this is something that is important. I have gone through this before, and I use the mantra, so you could just go chanting. So I come back and try to chant some Bhutto. My mind doesn't like Bhutto. I get irritated by saying Bhutto. So maybe because I didn't have enough samadhi, that means my samadhi is not there. So I just come back to my own meditation object, breathing in, good breathing out toe. Once I do this, then the minds become collected again, and then I just almost hit myself just because my mind is somewhere else. The mind was not at home. They keep asking you guys whether your mind's at home, at a home base, because I made my mistake before. So I practiced. I wasn't a special good person. I just made all kinds of mistakes. And I could say this, I can tell you, because I made all kinds of mistakes before. So it's from these masters that had helped me through all these mistakes. So I saw these mistakes. So whatever that I practice, if it's not consistent with the teachings of the Buddha or these masters, that must be my mistakes. So when the masters has taught us, these are the true friends showing us. These masters are the true friends showing us that we're making a mistake. But if you are questioning your own mistakes, that you're being inconsistent. So these two things, these true friends who are the masters, or you have the self-analysis, the self-contemplation that is seeing things that are inconsistent with the teaching of the Buddha. So these are the silver linings before dawn. These special lights before dawn, these silver linings. The bright, the silver and gold lights that coming out before the sun shines. So these true friends are these are like the lights, the silver lining just before the sun rises. So this is the first sign that you have a chance to get to the noble path. So the second thing is like the first light like the self-critical analysis is also the important thing. It's like the true sign that you will get the chance to get to the noble path. So don't listen to just the masters. There are so few masters you could truly listen to them and believe them. So for example, even the hair turning into this special glass bone, it's not important. It's just some sort of image. So there's some students of some masters. He's also an arahant. This master's an arahant. I don't believe you, and they get angry. And then I would say, so first, these students of his master tell me that his master is an arahant. I just say I didn't believe them. I told them I didn't believe them, and they got angry for decades. But nowadays, if they come and tell me, they'll say, "Oh, really?" I would say just that. So nowadays, you don't really see who the true friends are, who are the true masters who achieve Dhamma. So you have to have this understanding, the self-analysis, the critical analysis thinking. Once you understand the principle of the Buddha had taught, you have to be able to analyze what is correct and incorrect. So in order to bring yourself towards the noble path. So now it's a long teaching today. So it's time to report to me. Some time for interview. Number 1. My formal practice, I use Putto and walking meditation. During the daily life, I see the mind that it's lost. The mind is used to happiness and would not observe the 3 characteristics and scattered. You know your problem, so fix it. So the mind is so attached to happiness, come back to the body. The body is always displaying all the sufferings. Keep observing your body. You see that it's not any happiness. It's full of oppression by the sufferings. So keep observing your body. Use your body as your meditation object. Don't bring the mind to this point. This is not right. Just stay with the stillness. You bring yourself to this stillness. Can you see? You become aware. Having mindfulness is not about having stillness. It's not about bringing your mind and make it still. Can you see that you're trying to control it? You're cradling the mind to stay still. Just be aware as it truly is. Become aware of the body. From head to toes, toes to head, just up and down. It's full of foulness. It's full of everything that's impermanent. Your hair that used to be black, now it's gray. The body that used to be strong as we age, be no longer healthy and strong. It's impermanent. It's full of sufferings. Now, one moment you're hungry, this moment you're feeling cold, and then you get sick, and then you feel the aches. Just be mindful of these. Number 2, don't let the mind stay and get stuck in the stillness. Number 2, my formal practice, I do sitting meditation and listen to Dhamma and do the chanting. During the day, I observe the mind moving. I see that these 4, I could see the 4 aggregates is non-self. I could see that some samadhi that is formless. So could you provide me, Morgan? So you are not practicing for achieving anything. You just need to see the truth of your body and mind. You don't want to get jhana. You don't want anything special. You are trying to control your mind, just cradling it, just trying to make it, you interfering with your mind. You see 4 aggregates that is not us, it's not hard. but the mind sometimes is us and not us in different moments, but it's not yet severed. So it's still sometimes us and sometimes not us. So when you don't see that there is self all the time, so even this self is just like other defilements. That just so the mind is us. It's impermanent. It arises at just different moments. So, for example, some people, someone have their mindfulness since they were still in the womb. Not me. There is someone I even forget about yesterday. Someone can remember that they still in the womb. So what you do is good. It's good that you see that self, the mind is still self, subject to self. It's there. Keep practicing. Number 2, can you see the mind's mood? Just know that the mind is moved to think. There's no need to stop. There's no need to control. Don't try to control. Let it do its work and feel it. What you do is good.
หมายถึงภาวนาดีนะไม่ใช่ดีแล้วที่ภาวนา
But your practice is good. You make good progress. Number 3, can you see when you were laughing, your mind was lost?
เบอร์ 3 ภาวนาในรูปแบบนั่งสมาธิ
My former practice, I do sitting meditation for 30 minutes. During daily life, I see the body movements, see the feelings, emotions that arises whenever something comes to contact. Feel like some squeeze inside the mind and some explosions rise, and try to observe the mind whenever the mind moves and something comes in contact. Keep observing. As long as there are defilements, you have to keep fighting. Whatever explosions or not, it's okay. Forget about it. There are so many special symptoms that can arise in the mind. So whatever there is, whatever that explosion happens, whether the defilements is eradicated. So whenever that's something that arises and you thought that you have achieved some enlightenment, it's easy. You don't have to ask anyone. Observe yourself and try to see the key defilements that each level of the noble person would be able to get rid of permanently. You come back and see whether these defilements still remain. So when you have this noble path, you will start to see which defilements that you have and you no longer have. You could see self is still there. You just know. I thought I was not gonna just give you an answer, so I just told you. Number 4, my formal practice, I do sitting meditation about 30 to 30 minutes to 1 hour with Bhutto. So observing breathing in and out. During the day, I observe the breath in and out. So where it feels tight in the chest when I do my formal practice, whether it's because something wrong with the body or not right. Whatever you do is good. And the reason you feel congested inside the chest, it's a consequences of your over focusing, because you have the greed, you have the craving to be good. Can you feel that your mind is fixated? When your mind is over focusing, you feel the tightness, you feel the congestion. If you observe and can see naturally, you won't feel this tightness. Move back a little. Delusion interferes now. Open your eyes. When you practice, can you open your eyes? And then the defilement comes to the eyes. When whatever comes to the normal, regular, ordinary mind, you are trying to control the mind. You are probably excited because you're talking to me. But if you normally not like this, it's okay. Be mindful. What you do is good. Number 1, when you observe your body, if the mind is sinking into your body, just become aware. You don't pull your mind back to be at the distance. Sometimes just people just pull the mind and stay above the body. That's not right. You see the body. When you observe the body, don't sink into the body. Number 4, your mind's lost to think. Can you become aware? Just become aware with an ordinary mind. So when you do your formal practice, whatever you do is good. In daily life, follow your mind. When the minds come to contact with something, see the changes in the mind. The minds move to think, can you see? Just become aware like this. Number 5.
เบอร์ 5 ภาวนาในรูปแบบโดยเดินจงกรมวันละ
The
1 ชั่ว
formal
โมง
practice, I do
ในชีวิต
walking
ประจำวัน
meditation
ท่อ
for
ง
an
พุทโธใน
hour.
ใจเจริญสติ
During
และ
daily
ฟังธรร
life,
มของหลวง
I
ปู่
chant
อยาก
Putto
ถึงพระโสดาบัน
and
ส
listen
มา
to
ธิและการ
Dhamma.
ปฏิ
I
บัติที่
want to
ทำอยู่
achieve the
ถูกต้อง
stream
แล้วไหม
entry
คะ
level. Whatever I do, is it correct?
อยากเป็นพระโสดาบัน
Do
ต้อง
more.
ภาว
If you want
นา
to achieve the extreme
ศีล
entry
5
level,
ต้องรั
just
ก
keep
ษา
practicing. The 5
ตั้งใจ
precepts have
ไว้
to be observed daily. Have the intention to
เรา
observe it.
ภาวนาเราเห็นโทษของตนเองนะ
Can
เรา
you
ไม่สน
see?
ใจโทษของผู้อื่น
You
เราดู
see,
ตัว
you
เราไป
focus
เรื่อย
on your
ๆนะ
on your
เราก็
own
จะพัฒนา
mistakes
ได้
and your
เร็วขึ้น
wrongdoing. Stop
ไม่
focusing
ต้องส
on
นใจ
other
คนอื่น
people's mistakes.
นะ
Don't focus on
เบอร์
others.
6
Don't pay attention to others. Number 6.
เบอร์ 6 ภาวนาในรูปแบบเดินจงกรม 3 ชั่วโมง
My
ในชีวิต
formal
ประจำวัน
practice is
ดูล
3
มหาย
hours
ใจ
of walking
ไม่ทราบ
meditation.
การปฏิบัติที่
During
ทำอยู่
daily life,
อยู่
I
ในแนว
observe
ทางหรื
the
อไม่คะ
อยู่
breath.
นะอยู่ได้ดี จิต
You're
มี
doing
กำลัง
well.
แล้วล่ะ
Stay on track.
เห็
The
นไหม
mind
ว่า
is
พอจิต
gaining
มีกำลัง
energy,
ขันธ์มันแยกเอง
power,
แหละ
and
แล้ว
see the
ขันธ์แต่ละ
aggregate
ขันธ์นะ
separating out.
ก็แสดงไตร
And
ลักษณ์ทั้ง
each
นั้น
and every aggregate is showing
เห
you
ลือ
the
ตัวเดียว
3 marks of the
ตัวจิต
of the existence. The
อย่า
last
ดู
one
จิต
is
เป็น
the
ไตรลัก
mind.
ษณ์ดูวิญญาณนะ
If you want
เหลื
to
อจิต
see the
อย่างไปทาง
consciousness
ตา
is
หูจ
subject
มูกลิ้นกาย
to
ใจดูวิญญาณเกิดดับไป
3 characteristics
ให้ช
too.
ละความเห็นผิดว่า
And
จิ
then
ตเป็น
you're
เรา
gonna start to see
เบอร์
that
7
the mind is not self. Number 7.
เบอร์ 7 ภาวนาในรูปแบบเดินจง
My
กรมทุก
formal
วันวัน
practice,
ละ 1 ชั่วโมง
I do
และนั่ง
my
1 ชั่วโมง
walking
ช่วง
meditation
เช้า
for
และ
an
ก่อนนอ
hour
น ในชีวิต
before,
ประจำวันดูลมและรู้สึกตัว
in the
มีอารม
morning
ณ์
and
บ้าง
at
รู้บ้าง
nighttime. During the
การเจ
day,
ริญ
I
ปัญญาหลัง
become
จากสติตั้ง
aware
มั่นจะเห็น
and
กายเป็น
lost.
โครงกระดูกก่อนที่จะสลาย
When
ลง
I
ดิน
have
แล้วจิตเห็นสิ่งเกิดดับ
when
วน
I
เวี
do
ยน
my
ไป
practice,
ไม่
I
ทราบ
see
ว่า
my
ที่เป็น
body
อยู่
as a
นี้เป็นการ
skeleton
เรียนปัญญา
until
จริงหรือคิดไปเองคะ
and it
เดิน
dissolves
นะ
into
แต่ถ้ามัน
something
ใช้
that
กำ
goes
ลังข
into
อง
the
สมาธิเยอะ
earth.
มันจะดู
But you
แล้วร่าง
have a
กาย
lot of
จะสลาย
and it
นะ
requires a lot of
เนี่ย
power,
เดินแบบ
samadhi.
สมาธิเยอะ
So then you actually do a lot of
เวลา
samadhi
ส
power.
มาธิ
Use
เย
a lot
อะ
of
ภาวนา
samadhi power.
อยู่ข้างในงั้นไม่เป็นไรนะแต่
But
ตอ
when
นอ
you
อกมากระทบ
inside,
โลก
but
ข้า
when
งน
you
อก
come
เนี่ยรู้ให้ทั
outside
น
world, becomes
พวกที่
aware.
สมาธิเยอะบางทีออก
This
มากระทบโลก
special
ข้างนอกนี่ขี้โม
samadhi
โห
when
ได้
you
ง่า
stay
ยนะ
inside, you can get
ข้างในมัน
angry
สงบ
easily when you come to the outside world
ต้อง
because
ถอยจิตออกมา
inside
สิ
it's a lot
ออ
of
กมาอยู่กับโลกให้
it
หลวงพ่อ
requires
ดู
a
หน่อ
lot
ย
of samadhi. Comes out to the world, come out to the
รู้
world
สึก
and
ไหม
show
ว่าตรง
me.
เนี้ยมันยัง
And
แน่
you
นอยู่
feel that it's still
นะ
tight.
ถ้าแน่นอยู่เนี่ยมันเป็นผล
If you feel
ของ
tight,
การที่เรา
it's
ถ
a
ลำลงไปเพ่ง
consequence of you
นะ
over focusing.
เนี่ยถ้าเรารู้ทันว่านี่
If
มัน
you
เกิดจาก
become
การถ
aware
ลำ
of
ลง
this,
ไป
this
เพ่ง
is
ต่อไปพอ
the
จิตมันจะ
reason
เพ่งเรารู้
you
ทัน
feel
นะ
this because
มันจะไม่
you
เพ่ง
over
มันจะรู้
focusing.
ไป
And
เรื่
then
อย
once the
ๆรู้
mind is
สบาย
starting
ส
to
บาย
over focusing, again
นะ
you become
ถ้าจิต
aware
จะ
of
รว
it.
มก็รวม
And
ข
then
องมัน
you're
เอง
gonna
แหละ
be
สบาย
able
ส
to
บาย
become over
ตอนนี้
focusing.
จิตไหลไป
If
แล้ว
the
รู้
mind's
สึก
gonna
ไหม
become collected, you're just
หั
gonna
ดรู้สึ
it's
กไป
gonna
เรื่
do
อย
on
พ
its
ยัก
own
หน้า
and
รู้
just
สึก
feel
ไหม
it comfortably. When you're
ใช้
not
ร่าง
thinking,
กา
you
ย
feel
เป็น
it.
ฐานด้วยนะ
Use your
ให้ดู
body
แต่จิตอ
as
ย่าง
your
เดียวเดี๋ยวมันเผล
meditation
อไป
object. Don't keep
นะ
observing
ดู
your
ดู
mind
จิ
only.
ตล้วน
Come
ๆดู
back
ยา
to
ก
your mind.
นะ
It's so
ร่าง
hard to
กาย
just
เคลื่อน
keep
ไหวรู้สึก
observing the
รู้สึกไป
body, observing the mind only. So as the
เนี่ยจิต
body
มัน
moves,
จิต
become
มันส่งไป
aware.
สังเกตแล้วรู้สึกไหม
The mind is sent to observe.
นะ
Can you
จิตมัน
see?
ไหลออกไปสังเก
The
ต
mind's
ให้ไป
move
ดู
to observe. Can you see?
ให้รู้ทันนะกระดูกกระดิกไว้
Keep
เอ
moving.
ออย่างนี้
That's
ดีกว่า
good.
นะ
That's much
แต่
better.
แต่กี้ไม่ถูกแล้วล่ะ
Just like
นะถ้า
before that,
มัน
it
ไหล
was
ล
not
งไป
right.
แล้วไปจมแช่
And the
นิ่งๆ
mind just move and
เคลื่อน
sink
ไหว
in
แล้ว
and
รู้สึก
stay
เคลื่อนไหว
there.
แล้วรู้สึกนะดีกว่า
Move and
เบอร์
feel,
8
move and feel. Number 8.
เบอร์ 8 ภาวนาในรูปแบบนั่งสมาธิดูลมหายใจ เดิน
My
รู้
formal
สึกตัว
practice is
เห็น
sitting
หัวใจเต้น
meditation,
ในชีวิตประ
walking
จำวัน
around
อ
and
ยู่กับ
feel
กา
the
ยเป็นฐาน
heartbeat.
ยั
I
งไม่
stay
เห็น
with
เบื้
the
องหลัง
body during
ยังไม่ยอมรับความจริง
during the
จึงยังทุกข์อยู่
daytime. I
ต้องไป
don't
ผ่า
see
ตัด
what's
ขอหลวงพ่อแนะ
behind
นำ ในสถานการณ์
I'm
วิกฤต
going
ด้วย
to
ค่ะ
get a surgery.
เว
Can
ลา
you
วิกฤต
please
นะ
guide me
พยายาม
for
จะ
the
ขังนะ
critical time?
ร่างกาย
During the
ไม่ให้
critical
หมอจัด
time,
การ
see,
จิต
let the
ของเราเป็น
body,
แค่คน
let
ดู
the doctor takes care of the
แต่ถ้า
body.
มัน
The
เจ็บ
mind is
มา
an
ก
observer. But if
ๆ
it
ทนดู
hurts
ไม่
so
ไหว
much
อะ
and
ส
you
ติ
cannot
จะแตก
see
เรา
it,
ก็เลี่ยงซะ
just
กำหนด
avoid
จิตไป
it.
ไว้ที่อื่นนะ
Bring
ส
the
มมุติมันเจ็บ
mind somewhere
ที่
else.
แขนเนี่ยเอา
If
จิต
it
ไปไว้ที่
hurts
ขา
the hand
อย่า
so
งเงี้ย
much,
ย้า
move
ย
the
ที่ซะ
mind to the
มันก็จะไม่
legs.
เจ็บเยอะหรอก
You
นะ
will feel
แล้วถ้าจิตเราตั้งมั่น
hurtless.
จริ
You
ง ๆ นะ
feel the pain
ค
less.
วามเจ็บ
If
มัน
you
จะล
have
ด
a
ลงไป
stable
เยอะเลย
observer, the
นะ
pain would be
เพราะความ
reduced
เจ็บ
significantly because
ส่
the
วนใหญ่
pain
เลยนะที่หล
itself,
วงพ่อเห็นนะ
most
เรีย
of
กว่า
the
ส่วน
time
ใหญ่
what I
ก็
could
พูดยาก
see,
เอา
I
ส่วน
cannot
หนึ่ง
see
ก็
that
แล้วกัน
most of it, but
ความเจ็บใน
some
ร่างกาย
part,
เราอะ
a lot
ส่
of
วนหนึ่ง
people
นะ
actually, the
เกิดจาก
pain
จิตเรา
inside your
สร้างขึ้น
body,
เอง นะ
it's actually
เมื่อก่อนตั้งแต่ยังไม่บวชมา
amplified by
มี
the mind.
ลูกศิษย์
Before
ผู้
I
หญิง
got
นะบอก
ordained,
โอ้
there was
เว
one
ลา
student, female
เมน
student.
มาเนี่ยป
Whenever
วด
they
มา
had
กเลย
she had her
ต้อง
period,
กิน
she
ยา
had
ทุก
so
ที
much
เลยนะ
pain.
ภาวนาไม่
She
ได้
had
ห
to
รอก
take medication.
บ
She
อก
could
ให้ไป
not
ดูใหม่
practice. I
อะไร
told
ปว
her
ด
to go back. You see what's
ร่างกาย
being
มันปวด
painful.
หรือว่าใจ
Is it
เรา
the
อินเข้า
body
ไป
is
นะ
having the
ใจ
pain
เรา
or
อิ
is
น
the
กับมัน
mind
อะ
just sinking into the
แล้ว
pain
เขาบอกตั้ง
and
แต่
just
นั้นน่ะ
so
เขาก็สอนง่ายนะ
and then
ตั้งแต่นั้นไม่ต้อง
she
กินยาอี
was
กแล้ว
very
รู้สึกปวด
obedient.
นิด
She
หน่อย
no longer had to take
นะใจมัน
medication.
ไม่
She
อิน
felt
อะ
the
ใจ
pain
ข
a
อง
lot
เราเอง
less
มันไปข
because
ยาย
the
ความ
mind
เจ็บ
is
ปวด
just
ให้
not
ใหญ่เกินจริง
amplifying the pain.
นะ
This is not
หลวงพ่อเคย
it's not
เข้า
it's
โร
a
งพยาบา
lot
ล
more
ต้องผ่า
pain
ตัด
than
ผ่า
it
อะไรนะ
truly is.
พอ
So
ผ่า
when
เส
I
ร็จแล้
was
ว
in a hospital
หมอก็สั่ง
myself
พยาบาล
during
นะ
a surgery
คืน
and
เนี้ย
the
ต้องให้
doctor
หลวงพ่อ
told the nurse
ต้อง
that
ให้มอร์ฟีน เพราะ
he
ว่าหลว
would
งพ่อ
need
จะปวดมากเลย
morphine because
พ
he
อ
would
ตก
feel the
ค่ำพ
pain.
ยาบาลก็เวียนมา
So
ถาม
at
หลวงพ่อ
night
จะ
the
รับ
nurse
มอร์ฟี
came
นหรือ
and
ยัง
whether I
บอ
needed
กยัง
morphine
ยั
and
งไม่
I
ปว
said
ด
no, I don't
นะ
feel the pain
แต่
yet.
เดี๋ยวก็มาอีกแล้ว
And then the nurse
เราจน
came
เรา
back
ง่วงแล้ว
again.
นะ ยังไม่ยอม
And then
เลิ
I
ก
was
มา
sleepy.
ถามอ
The
ยู่เรื่
nurse
อยอะ
kept coming back
หลวงพ่อบอก
asking
ข
me
อพา
whether
รา
I
เม็ดหนึ่งก็
needed
แล้
it.
วกัน
So
เอ
I
อนะ
told the
นะ
nurse that
คือเรา
okay, give
จิต
me
เราไม่
one
เข้าไปขยายความเจ็บปวด
paracetamol.
ของร่างกายอะ
So when pain
นะความเจ็บ
just
ปวดของ
when
ร่าง
the
กายจะเหลื
mind
อแต่
doesn't
ความเจ็บของกายจริง
interfere with the
ๆนะ
pain, it's just
เพราะฉะนั้น
now
ถ้า
it would
ถ้า
just
จิ
be
ต
the
เราเข้าไป
true
ขยา
pain
ย
that
ความรับ
remains.
รู้ตัวนี้
But if
นะ
the
มันจะ
mind
เจ็บเย
comes
อะ
in and
พยายาม
amplify
แย
the
กนะกายกับ
consciousness
จิ
of
ต
the
คนละส่ว
pain.
นกัน
So
นะ
separate out
กา
the
ยก็
mind and
ให้
the
หมอดู
body
แลไป
are separate
จิต
things. The
นะเราก็
body
ดูแล
is
ของเรา
taken
เอง
care
ทำ
of
อะไร
by
บ้าง
the
พุทโธพุท
doctor.
โธพุทโธ
You
ไป
take
ไม่ต้องไป
care
ส
of
น
your
ใจ
mind.
ที่ร่าง
Just stay
กาย
with Butto.
นะ
Don't pay attention to
อ่ะ
the
วันนี้หลวง
body.
พ่อเทศเกินไป
So
5 นา
that's
ที
it
ขอ
for
โทษด้วย
today. We are 5
นะ
minutes over time.
เท
I'm
ศ
so
แล้ว
sorry.
หายใจออกอยู่วัดเทศแล้วหายใจ
So
ไม่ค่อยออกมันชื้น
so
กรุงเทพนี่มันร้อน
it's so
คล้ายๆน
humid
ร
at
ก
the
นะถ้า
temple.
เท
I
ศ
could
ดี
breathe a little. So it's so hot and dry here. So it's good for breathing.